This is the Triad Real Estate Collaborators Podcast, brought to you by First American Home Warranty and Ashley Williams, Brittany Cook with Movement Mortgage, Tyler Castle with Steele and Vaughn Moving, Drew Brandon with Home Team Inspection Service, and Sean, Lori, and Brian with Stegall and Clifford Attorneys at Law.
All right, we're here with Kara Farrar of TKB Realty Group, formerly Kara Newton.
Yes.
The artist formerly known as Kara Newton.
Correct.
Right. Yep. Great. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Exciting.
Yeah, very exciting.
Enjoying the newlywed stages and all that stuff, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Good. Awesome. And Brittany Cook with Movement Mortgage is
Hello.
here as well.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll jump right into it. So Kara, how long have you been in real estate now?
5 years.
5 years.
Yes.
Okay. And probably what I have seen from you over the last 5 years is just a huge increase in just rocket ship, and probably feels like that sometimes to you as well,
Definitely
right?
feels like that.
So what did you do before real estate, and what have you seen that has really helped propel you in the beginning years of that?
So I owned a consignment business for about 7 years in my hometown, Asheboro. And then after that, I got in network marketing, and that I feel like is where it's really propelled real estate. So I had a team of almost 5,000 in about 2.5 years that I mentored, and that is where I really got into the space of social selling and learning how to sell yourself, and then a little bit of the leadership side too. So before real estate was all network marketing, and then even after that team of 5,000, I went to a couple other businesses and grew like really good there too. And then I got a text that said, "Hey, I'm going to do real estate. I think you'd be really great at it. You should do it with me." And classes start March 14th, and this was like March 7th. And
you're like, yeah, let's go.
I put it on a credit card because I didn't have any money to pay for it, and that's where it all started. And it was actually my sister that texted me. She's in real estate in Burlington, more on the investor flip side.
Gotcha. Cool. So once you got in, so you've learned how to network and all that stuff, obviously. But what do you see as like a key proponent of going out and building the business the way that you have?
So I really don't like to network, and that's probably not something I should say live, but I'm actually very much introverted if people that really know me. I'm only extroverted on social, which is really weird, but I've learned that there's a lot of other people like that too. So I've just learned to really sell myself. I can frame what I do, frame who I am on social, on platforms, to attract people to me. So I feel like that's like my magic is the attraction piece. I don't ever go out and like try to solicit business. It's just people that has either come to me, and I think it's just how I do it. It's like who I am is who I am. So I share not just business, it's family, it's my divorce, it was everything. I just was a very open book, and I think that relates to a lot of people.
Yeah, and I mean you have to be open to attract the clients, right? Because I mean I think realtors get a bad rap a lot of times, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard that. But to overcome that, to not be the used car salesman or whatever people think, which they exist in the business, right?
Correct.
But the way to overcome that is to be vulnerable. So I know that's one of the hardest parts about social media for people is sticking a camera in front of your face and saying like, hey, you got to talk about stuff and you got to share things that are painful. Like, I mean, you talk about your divorce, like, that's painful to go through, whether it's the right move for you or not, right? It's still painful.
Still painful.
Right? So how did you, I think a lot of people often want to know, like, how did you build the courage? How did you get past that point?
Yeah. One thing you mentioned, you said something about a car salesman. So I think about like a car salesman, insurance agents, they always have like business cards, and all of their pictures on their stuff is very stiff. It's like, the headshot. So you'll never see any of my marketing like just that standard business card. It's everything's like a lifestyle, happy, you might even be a kissy lip or whatever, but it's just me. It's just me. And then when I actually go out and meet people, if they'll see me, like I'm at the gym or wherever I'm at, be like, do you have a business card? No. So I don't carry business cards. And I'm like, oh, but hey, my Facebook's my business card, and I'll show them my Facebook. So I feel like it's just learning to like move with the times. Like, I know there's some agents who have the same headshot. They've had it for 20, 30, 40 years.
That doesn't happen.
I have a different headshot about every 4 months, I probably would say, and do that shoot. So that, I think that's one thing that like kind of makes me stand out is I'm not just that, I don't want to say boring, but like not just that, just everyday like headshot person. Here's a business card. It's more of like come check my social media, find out who I actually am as a person. So, okay, now what did you ask again before that?
No, I think it was just building the courage to actually do that and be vulnerable in that manner.
So I learned that I know the uncomfortable, what I will get as the reward from being in the uncomfortable space. So I remind myself that all the time. Like if I get really nervous about something, is like, Kara, what's the reward from doing that? And so if I know that this is what supports my family and I don't put myself, I'm allowing the fear of that to keep me from providing a life for my kids. So I think you just have to like really look at it like you got to do it. And so like today, I think we did a reel today, and it talked about the people that are judging you are probably broke. And it said, just embrace the suck because those that are judging you are probably broke. And so I like live by that. Like I know the life that I want, and if it means me looking a little crazy or putting my face on camera all the time, then I just do it because I want the reward, what comes from it bad enough to just face that uncomfortableness.
Well, and the haters aren't going to be the ones sending you the money anyway.
Correct.
Right. So
good.
like, who cares about them?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, eventually.
Free advertisement really is how I think about it.
Yep.
You know, it's like they're going to talk about you. So, you know,
Even if it's bad, it's
Continue
still
on.
it's still news.
right?
It's still news, and you know you have the ability to create the narrative around that too, right? And you know, like turn the other cheek, so to say, but like you know, be able to step above it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, everybody's got haters.
Yeah. Everybody.
I mean, Mr. Rogers, if he was around now, would probably have haters,
Exactly.
right? It's silly
Yeah.
because he's the most wonderful. I grew up idolizing
Oh,
Mr.
yeah.
Rogers, but
Yeah.
so that's so now you're on to building a team. So you maxed out solo agent life. Building something where you have to manage people and grow people and find the people is a whole different ball game than going out and hustling on your own, right? So take us through that journey. What's that been like? How have you managed that chaos to help keep things rolling?
So it's not been easy. I had no intentions of actually ever opening my own firm. I remember when I was with my previous firm that I first started with, I was doing really good, and I remember them saying they were scared that I was going to go out and start. I'm like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. I've owned a business before. I have no desire to do that. And then, you know, of course, as time went on, I just pretty much maxed out. You know, I was paying like just a ridiculous amount to be there. It just wasn't making sense.
Right.
And my coach was like, I cannot consider you a really good businesswoman if you actually stay at this firm. Like you have got, it's time for you to go. It's not that they're bad. It's just you've grown.
Yeah.
So I started, I brought on 2 people, just weren't in alignment with who I was and what I wanted for my brand and my culture. And then I expect people to work, like want to work, like not to babysit them. So my coach, I would have a conversation with him, and he said, I think you're doing it wrong. You need to put out there like what you're not looking for. Like I'm not looking for someone to have to handhold. I'm not looking for someone if you expect your leader to be in the office every single day. Because for me, if I'm in the office, I'm really not making money is how I look at it.
Right.
So the first 2 agents just weren't in alignment. So I decided that I wasn't going to bring on another agent. I was just doing my own thing. And until probably, I think Amber's been with me for about 6 months, she reached out to me, and I almost told her no, because I have people every week ask to partner with me. And something told me, if you follow me long enough, you know, I always listen to these little nudges. I get them. I call them spirit nudges. And something was like, you probably should talk to her. Because I had looked up her stats, but I had followed her for about 2.5 years before she reached out to me. And what I saw from her was consistency. It didn't matter. Like every day she was posting a reel. Like it just didn't matter. Like, and I would even tell the people, the one girl that was on my team, I'm like, you got to go follow Amber Johnson. She's like very consistent. Go follow her. And so when she reached out to me, I decided to meet with her, and I was just open. I'm like, I am not the structured leadership that if you need that, I'm not real big on like CRMs or systems. We have one and I'm trying to learn it. I said, I've always just ran my business on Jesus, passion, and hustle. So that's who I am. If you're looking for marketing, I'm your woman. If you're looking for like systems and weekly meetings and leadership and all that, you did not need to join me. And that's what I told her. And she partnered with me, and it's honestly been the best blessing. And then 2 months ago, another girl reached out to me and said, hey, I finally got the courage to message you. I want to be with you. And I was actually shocked she partnered with me because she came to me from 100% brokerage. And I feel like as you get into real estate, you learn that the money is not everything. It's about the culture, who you're with, and it's not so much about splits. I think that's where a lot of new agents go wrong because they're they go wherever can give them the most money, and sometimes that's not
But
what
you
you
lose
need.
support, and sometimes it actually costs you money
Yes.
to do that, right?
So she went from 100% brokerage to a completely different split, and she loves it. And so she said that she just was past the money part. She needed more of like, who was she aligned with, like values. And, she loves Jesus and I love Jesus and we're both moms. And so we just connect really good. And then I hired a director of ops and she's been a great fit. So anything she touches pretty much should grow the business. And I also, another thing that I had to have a hard time learning is I feel like leaders and business owners, they hire to where they're at and where they feel comfortable. And one of my mentors, when I was with EXP, he said this on a Zoom we did. He said, you have to hire to where you want to go, and you got to actually pay like in advance to those people. He's like, because you're not going to get the talent you want. And so beforehand, I'd hired people that was just comfortable, and then the second girl I hired, it was a little stretch, but then this girl I just hired was like a major stretch, but it's been a really good fit so far. And then I have transaction coordinator, and then Stephanie Anderson. She comes to my office like once a week and does lending.
Gotcha. No, that's cool. So I think one of the things that I heard from what you were saying is one of the hardest parts about business, right? Owning your own business is like you got to put yourself out there, you got to grow stuff, you got to manage people, but one of the things that's the hardest thing to learn is how to say no.
Yes.
Right. So it's very clear that you have a clear path on where you want to go, but how did you build that muscle knowing that you've got 19 different distractions that are pumping at you every single day? Like if you said you got people reaching out to you every single day, like entrepreneurs think opportunity.
Yes.
Right. But you have to say no to focus that opportunity.
Correct.
Like how did you work yourself through that?
I think I saw a little bit of it firsthand. So I have seen where people focus on numbers for dollars instead of focusing on quality and sanity and like life balance. So I would prefer to have 2 agents versus 10, even if 10 is going to get me more money, if it's going to not be in alignment with who I am. So I'm not just going to bring on every Sally Sue, Tom, Dick, and Harry just so I can get more money or get more exposure, because in the end, if it's not aligned with me, it's gonna mess up what I built. And so one week I had 5 people reach out to me and I only took one of them, and it was actually Emily. And what I told them is I'm not bringing on any new agents, and I'm upfront with them. Like, it's not that a new agent is bad. I started in 2019 as a new agent, but I do not have the time to actually sit down and train you. So it's actually a disservice to you, and it brings you as a new agent into chaos, and I have a responsibility. And so I also learned it firsthand because this person messaged me, one of the ones that wanted to join me. I actually sold his house and helped him buy one, and he messaged me and he did something, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, you didn't go over like the new laws? He's like, no. He's like, yeah, my Vic told me he's gonna meet with me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, okay. I was like, well, I just wanted to tell you, this is one of the reasons I didn't bring you on. I said, just because there's so much liability in real estate, and I'm like responsible for you. And so like, I need to make sure that I feel like I have the time to train you before I bring you into chaos. I said, so it's not that I don't want you as a person. You used to be a car salesman, and I think you would be phenomenal, but I just can't bring you in not knowing that I can fully give you the time that you need. And so that's kind of where I've learned is it's just going to create stress on me. And then I'm going to have a lot of liability I don't want to have if I don't have time to train them.
Well, and you've got, because we go through this too, right? Like we have licensing in the inspection industry, and the amount of people that I've hired in the past that aren't willing to learn the state standards and the rules and the laws. And it's like, it's my butt on the line and your butt on the line.
Correct.
So like, but that's so hard. Like, people think, oh, it's just easy to go hire people. Like, it's so hard. It's
not easy.
It's so hard to find people that can actually do the things that you want them to do and take that initiative to do it. So, bravo to you. I don't know if you had anything.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah. Awesome. So what's next for Farrar?
Oh gosh. So what's next? I feel like that we're definitely going to be bringing on more team people. I'm at a level now that like I can't even having 2 agents. It's still not enough. And so I'm doing so many listings. I think this year I've closed 106, and so probably will close 120, maybe something like that, maybe 130. And I can tell like the very vulnerable moment, the level of service is declining a little bit just because I am one person, And so one of my marketing directors was like, maybe you should say you can't take any more clients until January. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like that scares me, But it's just the load is really heavy. So I think that I'm going to have to implement bringing on some more people, maybe another additional staff. Like the director of ops is so busy doing paperwork for me because she does a lot of my offers and stuff because she's licensed.
Right.
But I need her to be doing things that are of a higher dollar
Building
amount.
Your systems and all that
and
stuff.
So right now
the things
she's
that you don't like doing. Yep.
She's got so much on her, and then my transaction coordinator is handling, anywhere from 15 to 20 files, and so she doesn't write my offers. She's only just just the files once we go under contract. So I do believe we're going to have to bring in some extra support. I'm also in the process of trying to bring in an in-house photographer and videographer, keep it in-house because that's just what I'm paying business. It makes sense to bring it in business-wise, and then also I feel like I really want to focus on more behind the scenes of what does Kara do on a daily basis.
Sure.
And then my ultimate goal would be to speak a little bit more and to do some coaching. I mean, I get asked every week to coach, but again, it's not, I tell them, I would love to coach you, but I'm not going to take time away from my family. I don't have enough time as it is now. So to coach you, trade in time for my, it's just not worth it. So that would be my ultimate, but I have too much business right now to even think about coaching.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And I think people see success like that and they're like, well, of course you can do it in a large market. You're not doing it in a large market, right? You're doing it mainly in Asheboro, right?
Oh, yeah, pretty much. I'd say 90% of my volume is Asheboro.
Yeah, which is crazy to think about that you're talking about closing 130 homes mainly from Asheboro.
Yep.
Is that just being entrenched in the community? Like what do you see there?
I think that's a big key to my success is I see a lot of agents who promote oh my gosh, I serve the Triad, I can help you. And they'll list out all these 8 different cities. I'm very niche specific, so I'm very area specific. I used to talk about how I could serve the Triad everywhere. And sometimes we just did a photo shoot we called Selling the Triad because we're now a little bit all over. But for me, none of my marketing money is spent outside of Asheboro. So I have people that call me from Greensboro to do soccer teams and all of that. If it's not in Asheboro, I don't spend those dollars. I'm very community focused too. I do a lot of business with UCA where my kids go to school at. I just did 2 contracts this week and both resulted from that. So I want to be known as that person of oh yeah, she's the one that she's really supported the school. Hey, our kids have a new playground because she's given donations, and I can only give those donations if the community supports me. So I think it's a win-win. You focus on your community, and so I think it's digging into your pockets a little bit and not being stingy with your money because it's easy. You want to just keep it all, but you got to remember that $1,500 platinum sponsorship to the UCA team. That's small compared to, what maybe they've given in business. And then I do a lot of the soccer teams in Asheboro High School. So I'm just very specific. It's 5 Mile famous. That's my goal. I could care less about being the go-to agent in Greensboro or High Point. I will service those areas. I'm listing one next week, but I'm not marketing to those areas. I'm marketing to where I am because I know that area. If somebody says, where do you go get the best cheeseburger? I'm going to know where's the best gym. I feel like when you try to stretch yourself just because you're worried about how much money you can get, you stretch how much influence you can have. And so I would really like to be a really big influence in my community, specific where I live.
Yeah, it's awesome. If anybody's listening, or maybe we can cut this up to help preview this on where this episode is helpful. Focus, goals, clarity on where you're going is all super, super impressive. So appreciate you joining us. Yeah.